All right, everyone, hello. Before we start, I just want to start by saying thank you to my friend slash sister Lauren for giving me this awesome shirt. She was super kind and thought of me, so thank you for that. And today, depending on what Rosie lets us do, we're going to focus on yoga for beginners. So this is going to be a little bit different than some of the yoga classes that you might have seen before or that you have followed along with me on this page, but we are going to still start with that centering period, warm-ups, getting into the poses, and then cooling down and getting into the Shavasana. But we're going to really focus on the integrity of our poses, how it's feeling, and what we could be doing to let go or work a little bit harder in the pose, depending on what you want out of it. So you can begin by finding a nice seated position. So you can remove the fleshy bits from the sits bones and really allow those sits bones to ground down. Allowing the shoulders to sink away from your ears. Your hands can be facing upwards or maybe down, depending on what you want. Feeling an openness in your chest. Feeling your crown lengthen. Feeling strong in your spine. And then begin to notice your breath, how it's showing up today. Are you having big, beautiful, long breaths, or are you having super short, stagnant breaths? Just noticing what's coming up with that. And then however your breaths are showing up today, gently guide them into deeper inhales and exhales. So we'll deeply inhale in 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it, and then exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And trying to keep up with that pace, very slow and very controlled. Allowing that breath to sort of guide the direction of your thought to almost solely that, so that you're really showing up for yourself today on the mat. Breathing in all the good stuff, letting go of the bad. Deep breath in, allowing yourself to tap in and tune in to your practice. Noticing anything that's coming up in the body or the mind. Just accept it and acknowledge it and let it go. And then take the next few breaths to find out what your intention is going to be for the rest of the practice today. So whether it just be to get through the practice or to feel more confident afterwards or more strong or to live life with more ease. Whatever that might be for you today, just let it go. Let that intention flow through you, allowing that to be your focal point for the next few minutes. And then if your eyes are closed, you can gently begin to blink them open as we ease our way into the warm-up portion of the practice. So we're going to stay on in our easy pose, our nice seated position. I don't know what she's smelling on my hands, but she's freaking out about it. We're going to just rock kind of back and forth on those sits bones. So your core is going to just be slightly engaged here. We're just waking up that core a little bit so that we're better prepared for the poses that we're going to do. So just rocking back and forth and recognizing that little light up in the belly. And then we'll find some stillness. We're going to do a cat-cow variation while we're seated. And also if this is not a pose that feels comfortable for you, this easy pose, You're more than welcome to grab a blanket, grab a block, a pillow. If you don't have a block, you can use like a thicker book, anything like that, so that you can either sit on it right now, or you can use it in the future during this practice today. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can sit on your knees if that's more comfortable for you. Just find what feels good. And if your legs feel better outstretched, that's totally okay too. You have the freedom to do whatever is best for your body. So with that being said, we're going to go into that cat-cow variation. So if your legs aren't like this, just try to find the movements in your upper body, regardless. So you can place your hands down on your knees if you're seated like this. If not, be like this or like this. So either way, your hands are going to be on your knees. It's just going to be a little bit different. Same motion though. So hands are on the knees. You're going to curve your spine. So you're kind of creating this like C shape in the spine here. You're just going to sit in this pose and just notice how your vertebrae feel while you're kind of expanding them. And then on your next inhale, you're going to gently push the chest forward. Your throat and thyroid are going to stretch out as you look to the ceiling, broadening through that chest once again, feeling nice and light. And then on your next exhale, push back, find that C shape in the spine. Next inhale guides you gently into your cow. Exhale back into cat. And if you're doing this with a child at home, it's always fun to kind of throw in the noises of the animal that the pose is. So you can inhale and come into cow, and maybe you take this opportunity to moo. And then as you exhale back into your cat, you might meow. And then we'll find some stillness here. We're going to take our left hand and place it on the right knee. So wherever you are in a seated position, this can still serve you. So your left hand is going to be on your right knee. Your right arm is going to come behind you. So you're coming into this nice twist. You're coming up and finding space and length through the crown of the head here. And as you inhale, you really lengthen through the crown of the head. Inhaling, exhale, grounding down or allowing yourself to get a little bit deeper in that twist. Inhale, find length. Exhale, deepen. And we'll do one more. Inhale, finding length. Exhale, deepen. And then on your next inhale, slowly come back to center. Oh, that was not functional. We will take our right hand over to our left knee, open up through this side, finding a nice twist here. This is really great for your digestive organs. It's good for your spinal flexibility, kind of help create some energy through that spine. And on this side, we're going to focus on inhaling and finding length. Exhale, getting a little bit deeper into that twist. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, sink deeper. Perfect. And then on your next inhale, we'll slowly come back to center. Just going to work on waking up the legs and the feet, especially if you are completely new to yoga and you've never really tried this out. You want to just warm up those muscles that we will be utilizing. So if you want to point and flex your toes here, just kind of wake up through the backs of the legs. Maybe you're circling out your ankles. Perfect. And then you can bend your knees as generously as you need to here. Your legs can't be like even this bent if that's what's going to best serve you through your practice. We're going to come into a head to knee pose, but the idea of it isn't to just come down like this, right? You're compromising a lot of the integrity in your vertebrae when you do that. So although it looks cooler to the ego mind, that's not what we're looking for. So if your knees have to be up here, that is amazing. Whatever you need to do. If your hamstrings are a little looser and you've got the mobility, feel free to just have a micro bend in the knee. Inhale your arms up towards the ceiling. You're going to find a lot of length here. And instead of just crashing forward to bring that forehead to your knee, you're going to hinge forward at the hips until you feel that thigh bone come into your hip socket. And just notice wherever your hands go. Being mindful of the natural curvature of your neck. Being mindful of where your spine is going and trying to keep that as straight of a line as possible. You can drop your hands down wherever it feels good. We're just warming up the backs of those legs, which will hopefully release any lower back pain that you're experiencing as well. Staying in a pose for about a minute is when your muscles really start to get the benefits from it. So, few more breaths here, and then wherever your hands are, allow them to come down onto the mat so that you can paint the mat with your hands as you come up on an inhale. Perfect. So from here, we're going to come into a staff pose, which is the same idea with your legs out. Your arms are going to be down at your sides. Your hands are going to be down at your hips. You're going to find length, really find length, and ground down through those hips. So you've kind of got this opposition going on, where you're grounding down through this part of your body, but you're kind of finding length here through this part of the body. So that is what you'll find a lot of in especially Hatha yoga classes. We're always looking at that opposition, trying to soften and lengthen or deepen and ground down. And you'll notice here the muscles that are waking up by you doing such a simple looking pose. You'll notice that your core is going to start to feel engaged. Tiny muscles in your legs and your feet might start to wake up a little bit. You might be feeling things in your shoulders. Perfect. And then wherever you are, we are going to slowly roll over. We're going to come into downward facing dog. So how we're going to start this transition is by coming onto your hands and knees. If your knees are sore or they feel a little bit painful today for whatever reason, you can always put a blanket down, or you can fold your mat to whatever is going to be comfortable, however much padding you need. And if you have problems with your wrists, you always have the option to take fists instead of hands out like this, or to like starfish your hands. So your fingers are going to kind of starfish or like tent up. And that's going to alleviate any pressure in your wrists. So before we pop up into our downward facing dog, we're going to find a really nice tabletop here, just moving the hips side to side. And then maybe your head follows, finding some playful movement here, finding a smile. And then we'll find some stillness. As you get into your downward facing dog, you might want to walk your hands out just a little bit and envision a string coming right through the base of your spine, that like sacrum area. Imagine a string kind of pulling you up towards the ceiling, and your heels do not need to come down on the mat. So your heels can stay up. That's totally fine as long as those sits bones are lifted towards the ceiling. Your shoulders are going to start rotating slightly in, so you're going to have the inner elbows pointing outwards more so than the outer elbows pointing outwards. So you're really going to focus on rotating those shoulders, getting nice and set up, and then gently push yourself up into that downward facing dog. So sits bones are really going up towards the ceiling. You can begin to pedal out the legs, allowing that neck to just surrender. And once you feel like you've got your nice downward dog, you can begin to find some stillness or find some movement that feels good in this pose. Like I said, if your heels don't touch the ground, that's okay. You want those sits bones to go up towards the ceiling. And you can take up as much space on the mat as feels comfortable to you. Remembering to take that option of your fists or starfish hands, whatever is going to feel good for your wrists. And this is a really difficult pose too. So if you need to ever come out of it, you can gently bring yourself back into being on your hands and your knees, and you can bring yourself into a nice child's pose here to take a rest. Eventually, the more you do yoga, the downward dog is going to be what feels like a rest pose for you, as crazy as that probably sounds right now. And then from your downward dog, wherever you are, just gently begin to walk the feet up to the top of the mat, bending the knees very generously. Your belly is going to rest on those thighs, so your arms come down towards the ground. If it feels better for you to interlace your hands behind your back, you can do that. You can grab opposite hand and opposite elbow. If you're really feeling crazy, you can go into gorilla pose. So gorilla, your hands are going to go underneath your feet. You're going to get a nice wrist and back stretch here. But wherever you are, you can just relax into this forward fold. Feeling the neck muscles relax and the head surrender closer to the floor. Welcoming any warmth that you're feeling in your body. Hopefully feeling the nervous system relax a little bit. And then on your next inhale, you can either place your hands on the ground, your shins are above your knees, tucking those elbows in to get in a nice halfway lift. Your back is going to be in a flat back position, so from the side you will look like this, this, or this. This. All okay? And then you're slowly going to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Your head's going to be the last thing to come up as you roll into a nice Tadasana or mountain pose. So, mountain pose is going to look very similar to standing. Your feet are going to be about hip distance apart, or they can be nice and zipped up together. So it's whatever your balance level is, whatever your comfort level is with that. So you can either zip the feet together, have them be hip distance apart. And when I first started yoga, I really had a hard time understanding what hip distance apart meant, which is silly probably, but if you have a hard time with that as well, you can take your hands into fists and you can put that between your feet, and that's about the space that you're gonna want. Your palms are going to be facing outward as your shoulders relax and those shoulder blades sink down either side of the spine, allowing you to find length. You're really grounding down in the feet. If you're having a hard time understanding that sense of groundedness while you're standing, you're like, oh, that's pretty vague. I don't know what you mean. You can peel your toes up from the floor so you're on the balls of your feet and the heels, and you can just gently rock back and forth, noticing how your feet need to really ground down through that tripod of the foot. So the base of the pinky toe, the base of the big toe, and your heel. Really notice how those have to ground down. And then you can go side to side. And then once you feel like you've really established that rooted down groundedness in your feet, you can drop your toes. And if you feel comfortable, you can take this opportunity to close your eyes and kind of go into your breath here. So deepening that breath wherever you are, inhaling, finding length, exhale out, connecting with that breath. Inhaling, letting it go. Maybe taking this moment to reconnect with your intention for the practice today. And then you can gently begin to blink your eyes open if they are closed. From here, you're going to widen your stance very big. So maybe this big. You're going to be not taking up the whole mat, but a pretty decent size. We're going to open up into starfish pose. So our arms are going to be out, our legs are going to be out. We're feeling that strength in our arms and in our legs. Thanking our feet for allowing us to feel grounded and balanced during this practice. And then from here, we're going to allow the arms to come back down to our sides. Slowly begin to drop down into a yogi squat. So you're going to come down into something that's going to look like this eventually. This is not how it's going to look at first, and that is okay. So how it might look for you is your heels might be up a little bit. So that's okay, and you might just need to widen your stance to allow those to come down. Or if you're like, no, that's not going to work for me, you can grab a pillow and just place it underneath your bottom, or maybe a book, so that you're putting a little less pressure on that area. So wherever you are, you're going to really feel how your hips are open here. And if you can sink down into this squat already, great, good job. But also just make sure that you're pushing your elbows to your knees, so you're having a very active experience here. And if you're having a difficult time with that, placing your feet on the floor, just feeling stable in this pose, you can always just place your hands on the mat in front of you. That's a little bit better. Or you can even have them behind you. Just want you to feel that experience in your hips. So you might feel it in a lot of different muscles in your legs. This is a really great posture to allow you to feel grounded. It's very connected with the root chakra, which is associated with stability. Excuse me a moment. Okay. And then from here, wherever you are, you can just direct your arms behind you. Allow yourself to come back down onto your bottom. And then we're going to come into Baddha Konasana, or cobbler's pose. So your soles of the feet are going to be together. You can either have the heels of your feet very close to your groin, so you might feel a little deeper of a stretch, excuse me, or they can be a little bit wider, and you can just kind of find some movement in those hips. Stretching out the side body. Whatever your body needs here. You can find a playful butterfly, I like to call it. Or you can come forward and then backwards. Whatever you're doing, just make sure that you're maintaining that mind-body connection with your breath. And if you're going one way, just make sure that you go the opposite. So there's a lot of opportunity for freedom of self-expression and whatever your body needs during any practice. So as long as you're doing it safely, then you're doing yoga. That's all that it is. So from here, we're going to come into another more relaxing pose. So your legs are going to widen now, the space between the heels and the groin, coming into a large diamond shape with the legs. You can choose to stay here, allowing the shoulders to come away from the ears and your chin to drop down to your chest. Or you can place your hands like this underneath your calves, coming into a turtle pose. Hello. Would you like to come into my turtle pose? So here you're really going to feel that nervous system relax. You're going to notice your breathing begin to lower, your heart rate's going to lower. You're going to become a lot softer, hopefully, and despite the maybe twinges that you're feeling, you should kind of ease into this a little bit. And if it's difficult for you to get into this shape, you can always put a pillow where my dog is, right in this space, and you can make it a little bit more restorative. So you're going to really feel a nice hip stretch here, and you're going to hopefully feel a nice stretch in your neck when you surrender. Perfect. And then wherever you are, slowly begin to unravel, coming back up. You can bring your legs out in front of you, swing them out, preparing to come onto your backs here. You're going to inhale your knees into your chest, and then find some circles here, getting a nice little massage. Excuse me. You're blocking the view, darling. So your hands can be on the knees as you make large circles or small circles with the knees. Oh, excuse me. And then wherever you are, hug your knees into your chest. Thank yourself for showing up tonight, for trying something new if you've never tried this before. And then allow both knees to come over to the, oh my God, what is happening? The right side. Coming into this nice twist. Your hands can be out, arms in cactus arms, or your arms can be out in front of you long. And then inhale, knees back into your chest. And then exhale in the opposite direction. Same thing, your arms can be out in cactus arms or they can be out in front of you, whatever feels good. Your gaze is going to be over the right shoulder. If you really want to challenge yourself here, you can have your gaze and your neck over the right shoulder, but your eyes going towards the left. Kind of really floss out that body. And then inhale in. The soles of your feet are going to come up towards the ceiling as you tuck the tailbone under. Your hands can come to the outer edge, inner edge, or behind the knees to come into a happy baby pose. So you can find some movement here, bringing one leg in and then the other. Finding a smile and finding some happiness here. Thank you, Rosie. And then wherever you are with your happy baby, you can shoot your legs up towards the ceiling. Allow your arms to follow, coming into dead bug pose. Excuse you, that is mine. Arms and legs are up. You're coming into this nice, gentle inversion. And if this is something that feels a little bit difficult for you, I hope that you can try to work through that uncomfortability if you're not feeling anything suddenly sharp or painful. But if you would like to, a positive alternative to this pose is legs up the wall. So you can just turn to the wall and your legs can go up the wall. But wherever you are, you're going to slowly allow the legs and the arms to come down onto the mat, slowly and with control. And you're going to prepare for your final Shavasana here. So you're, you're going to be on the mat, on your back, allowing yourself to really feel relaxed and calm. Noticing how your body feels after completing those yoga poses. Allowing yourself to really sink into the mat. Noticing a sense of release and relaxation come over you. As you once again tap into that breath. Allowing that breath to be your main focus as you soften through the ankles, soften through the knees, release any tension in your abdomen, letting go of any tension you're holding in your chest. opening up through that heart, letting go of your shoulders, letting go of any pain or discomfort in your elbows and your wrists, allowing your vertebrae and the back of your skull to really sink deep into your mat, relaxing your jaw, letting your tongue relax, letting go of that space between your eyebrows, and giving in to that sense of total body relaxation. Hopefully feeling a sense of being proud for showing up and doing something beneficial for your mind, body, and spirit tonight. Knowing the abundance and positivity that each and every one of you is deserving of and worthy of. You can choose to stay in your final resting pose or your Shavasana for as long as you have time for. But while you're doing that, I will be logging off and just wishing all of you a beautiful night. May the rest of your night and all of tomorrow bring nothing but clear and loving relationships, clear and loving communication, and clear and loving thought. The light in me acknowledges and honors the light in each and every one of you. And as we bow down, we say, Namaste. Thank you.